Good morning. Happy Thursday. I'm pulling up Schoology right now, so you can see in week 11 we have Tuesday's videos that you watched, Wednesday video to watch, and then you're watching today's video with instructions. So your graphic organizer is right here, and it should be finished today. And so you also have my model of a graphic organizer and what my story looks like. And in yesterday's video, I asked you to read through carefully my narrative about my grandma and the lesson that I learned from her. So today I'm going to pop up the weekly slideshow, and this is going to be a very short video because today you are simply starting to draft everything that you already have in your graphic organizer. So I'm waiting for it to load all the way. We're going to scroll down all the way to where we left off, which I believe is going to be slide 19. So why don't you pause this video right now and go ahead and open the tab for this slideshow on your own. So click the space bar, pause the video, and pull this same slideshow up. Okay, hopefully you're back with me. And today's learning target is to use your narrative techniques to add some more dialogue and description, because right now we just kind of have the bare bones. We have what I would call like the bones of the essay, but we need to add the body, right? So we need to use precise words, descriptive sensory language to capture really what happened in detail. In elementary, I think you guys did a lot of narratives where it's like, first I did this, then I did this, next I did this. And while that's great practice for kind of beginning to end of a story, in seventh grade, we really want to challenge you to not just say I at the beginning of sentences or then, which is what I'm seeing a lot of students doing. We want to use transition words. And so I'm going to show you some examples of that to get your story flowing in a smooth way. And remember, you don't have to tell your story beginning, middle, and end. You can start in the middle, do a flashback, and then go to the end. So we're ready to start drafting today. I'm going to show you 4 different ways. I guess the 4 didn't show up. There we go. 4 different ways on how you could start drafting your essay, because sometimes a blank page can look really intimidating. So I want to give you some options. For your first body paragraph or your first paragraph, which is your introduction, you could start with dialogue. So I'm going to use my same example with my grandma to show 4 different ways I could have started my story. So dialogue is a person talking. So I want to say, Miss Benitez, a student shouted from across the parking lot. I thought I had made it to my car before anyone could see the mascaraed mess on my face. See you tomorrow. I faked a smile and opened the car door. So I'm starting with a student yelling my name, and as I have tears running down my face, I'm trying to fake it. And I'm like, hi, until I get into my car and start crying, right? So I could start with some dialogue. Then I could trace back to how my day went and why it was such a bad day. You could also start with action as a second option. So here I have an action word, beep. I looked in the rearview mirror to see the car behind me laying on their horn for me to move to window 2 at McDonald's. So notice I'm not starting my story in the classroom, I'm starting it in the car, ordering my McDonald's, and then I could flash back to the school day. And I didn't need to put beep. I could do honk or make a different sound, whatever sound I wanted. You could also start your story by describing the setting, right? The time and the place. So in this case, I thought, what would be a good place to describe? Probably not the McDonald's window, perhaps the classroom and how I left the classroom that day in a hurry. So I said, chairs propped up on the 27 desks, pencils lay scattered on the dirty tile. Yesterday's date and instructions were smudged on the whiteboard. I sat in silence before deciding to leave everything behind. So notice I'm using a lot of weighted words, scattered on the dirty tile. Yesterday's instructions were smudged on the whiteboard. I'm not just saying the chairs were up, I left it a mess, right? That's boring. I'm trying to add sensory detail so you can really see what something looks like. The last way you could start, and these aren't the only ways you could start a story. You can do whatever you feel like. I'm just trying to give you ideas. But another way that I'm going to provide for you is to say something unexpected. That could be humor, or it could be serious, right? If you've ever read The Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket, was his pen name. I loved that book series, but it was so odd because every single chapter started with something around the lines of, if you're wanting a book with a happy ending, you're better off burning this book or throwing it out the window, right? And I always thought as a kid, what a weird way to start a story, because why would anyone want to read this book then? But it actually did the opposite effect, and it made me kind of drawn into the book because I'm like, I want to know why it's so bad. And it ended up being very engaging. So you could say something unexpected like that. So I said, if you're hoping for a life-changing lesson, this is it. But it also involves fast food and attention headache, right? So it can involve a little humor. It might not be ha ha, laugh out loud, but a little bit of sarcasm. So those are ways you can start your story. The last thing I want to bring up is as you're writing, again, using those 5 senses that you learned in elementary: sight, smell, taste, touch, and sound. So if you just go ahead and look through this slide, it'll show different ways that you can be more descriptive with your writing. So I think we're ready now to keep this slideshow up. You should have it up on your screen because we paused the video. But now you need to go ahead and open a brand new Google document, a fresh one, has nothing on it. Okay, so why don't you pause this video and open up a blank doc and then come back to this video so I can show you how to set it up. Okay, you should be back with me. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to set things up in MLA format. This is how you're going to set up any formal or informal assignment, okay, for any of your classes all the way through college if you decide to go to college, but for sure through high school. And I don't make the rules for this. I'm a fan of cute fonts, but we can't do that, okay? So we have to do size 12. Then we want to go all the way down to Times New Roman. So scroll down to the T's and you will find Times New Roman. Okay, Times New Roman, size 12. The last thing is it has to be double spaced. So if we go to this like 3 lines with the arrows, we can notice it's double spaced. Some of you may have already known how to do that and you're like, well, duh. But others of you might not have. And so it's always a good review. The second thing, before we forget, let's title this. So please go ahead and put your last name in here. Don't actually write last name, put your last name. Last name, personal narrative, okay? Then there's some setup that we have to do over on this side. You have to put your first name and your last name here. Actually put your first and last name, okay? I'm just faking this. Then you want to put the class name and what part of the day you have it. So you would actually just say virtual English, press enter. You always want to put the instructor's last name. Even if you're in college, you'd say like Professor Benitez or Mrs. Benitez. So you can just refer to the person by their last name. So Benitez. And then you're going to put the day that this is due. Okay. So this is going to be due for you all on, let's see here, on Wednesday the 9th. So we are going to press enter and we're going to do the day first. So 9 November 2022. And then you press enter twice and we're going to center this and we're going to say title will go here. I don't know what I want to title my piece yet, so we just know we have to title it. And then you're going to start writing. Remember how I said the blank page can be scary? So refer back to the slideshow on the 4 different ways you can start your story. So you're going to need 3 tabs up today. This slideshow, this document, and your graphic organizer, because you're going to input things from your graphic organizer into your story. So it is a work day for you today, and you need to have your rough draft, I would say about halfway done before we meet tomorrow. All right, so happy writing, and I can't wait to read them.